Warning: the Chaotic Culture Podcast is a program for mature audiences. The language and content presented in this podcast is of a mature nature that some audiences may not find suitable. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Embrace the culture, blaze the doja, grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster, the KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off for O, like the cover Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge. But it's a celebration, times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and black culture is elevated and embraced. As always, this podcast will deep dive into modern black culture and how millennials and Gen Z can navigate the crazy parts from finances, music, black business highlights, home ownership, HBCUs, sports, black nerddom, anime. We cover all that and everything in between. Live from the 7-5, I am the host and creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, your boy Ked the Pro, aka the Calculating Millennial, aka the Cutlass Diamond, aka
don't be pushing all my buttons in my Cutlass unless you could,
aka Panic Favorite, Toxic Adjacent King, aka your favorite Shadow Realm Consultant. The 843 is me, but VA is where I stay. Always chaotic, never toxic. Here for another week to talk black culture shenanigans as always. With me, of course, this is going to be a before I introduce the squad real quick. This is going to be a very different episode. Of course, all of us are in our homes and whatnot. You know, with COVID running rampant around these parts, we just got to be sure everybody is safe and secure and healthy. So yeah, this is gonna be different, but you know what? When we get the all clear, obviously we're gonna be able to meet up again because we got some more heat coming for y'all. So please stay tuned. For those of you who support this podcast through our Anchor app, we definitely appreciate you. For those who are daily listeners, of course, as always, thank you. We cannot thank you enough. The New Year's Day episode put us at 2,500 listens officially, so we are steadily climbing up to 3,000 listens. I am just so blessed and honored that you all decided to listen to this podcast. So thank you for your support, thank you for your listens, and thank you for your interactions with us, whether it is on social media or in person. So let me go ahead and introduce the squad first and foremost. Gotta introduce the first mate of the pod, the boy Law. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
What's going on, party people? Good morning. Hope y'all are waking up every day saying something positive, not only to yourself, but to the community of people who you embody, captivate, and have the attention of. Just continue to, again, be safe. I wanted to throw this plug in here. It's Chaotic Culture Takes COVID protocol type, you know what I'm saying? With all the best, we got from football to the NFL, they got protocols. We got our own protocol. And as you can see, we're doing something new. But this is the year of stepping out on something new. So, again, we're going to see how this goes down. And you never know. We might, spin it and actually have something where we come to you all from our own homes,
Yeah,
but on it.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, it's in the works. So that way we won't have to continue using Zoom. If I can ever figure out how to use Discord, but I got somebody who's teaching me that. Let me go ahead and introduce the first lady of the pod, Miss Nasa. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Y'all already know what is good. It's your girl. It's the queen. It's your girl Nasa, aka Tony the Water Female Picasso. Good vibes only, babies. I hope everyone's mental is doing great. I hope everyone's health is top-notch shape because your girl was down bad. Your girl was kind of down bad this week or last week, but that's okay. That's okay. I got myself better. All right. And so I hope that this year is starting off on a good note, because mine kind of started off a little rough, but that's okay. That's okay. We back by popular demand, but you understand. Okay, period.
Indeed. So first and foremost, I'm glad that Nasa is doing a lot better than what she was, because she was down bad. Unfortunately, the disease got to her, but she was able to overcome it. You know, we definitely appreciate her, and definitely appreciate that she was able to fight that thing off, man. This is no joke. Next to those of you who are at home right now dealing with COVID, obviously, and dealing with COVID protocols, just continue to wear a mask. Please continue to be courteous of others. Continue to give 6 feet. Vaccinate if you believe in it. If you don't, again, just follow the protocol. If you decide to put somebody else's health at risk, you know, you hear our rants about that all the time throughout this podcast. Just be mindful that we don't really bang with that. So yeah,
2 feet or
yeah, indeed. So let us do a quick mental check on everybody, just to be sure everybody is still good. How's everybody feeling this week?
Honestly, I'm not gonna hold you. I was a little down bad, kind of a little sad, just a little bit. Only because I didn't really expect to get COVID. Wasn't expecting to get it, but in better spirits. Better than I was yesterday. I'm gonna be better than I was today, and I'm definitely gonna be better than I am tomorrow. So we're just gonna keep pushing. I got my little therapy session. And speaking of therapy, I hope everyone is trying to seek some type of healing, wherever that may be. So I'm still encouraging you guys. I'm still encouraging you guys to go seek some therapy, because I feel like we all need some type of healing, especially with this whole 3-year pandemic, or kind of, I mean, the whole 3-year pandemic that's just getting goofy. So yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but this is the norm. Masks are not.
This is a goddamn norm, and that's sick. Sick, y'all.
Unfortunately.
It's unfortunately not going. So, like, again, we gotta make it shake. You know, I'm still doing, you know, what I got to do to boost my immune system. Take my vitamin C, wear my mask. I really don't, you know, go out like that. But if I do, you know, again, I'm masked up, hand sanitizer. I keep a bottle of Lysol in the car. So you feel me?
Lysol in the car, Lysol in the house. Okay, hand sanitizer on deck.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been in a good mental space. Nothing bad, you know. I will say that I do have my days, but I'm human. So yeah. But
it happens.
I try to keep it moving forward, so that way I don't get bogged down by all those feelings and emotions.
Hey, that's what's up. Do what you gotta do to maintain your sanity. I will say for me, I'm all right. You know, things could be better, things could be worse. I'm in a space where I just have to, you know, make certain decisions regarding the next step in life. I feel like I always say that, but it's always true, because it seems that every day I'm always making a new step or trying to figure out what the next step is. So and it happens very, very occasionally. So that's where I am right now, just trying to figure out what's next. But as everybody else has been saying, of course, I got Lysol in the house, in the car. I got the hand sanitizer on me. I got an air purifier that was in the house, which for those of y'all who listened to last week, if you heard a little bit of background noise, that's what that was. That thing has not turned off since my roommate got hit with COVID. So I've just been taking the precautions. I got my KN95 mask that I don't ever take off unless I'm eating or I'm in the house. That's our new norm nowadays. But with that, just trying to find things that are, you know, going to keep me happy. I picked up the Harry Potter books again, because I guess with the whole Return to Hogwarts thing, which I said last week, that played a role in me getting back into it again. So of course I'm going to reread all the books and watch all the movies, I suppose. I'm currently on book 3 now. I've literally knocked out book 1 and book 2 in less than 5 days. So there's that. But anyway, yeah, that's what is going on my end. So with that, now that we've checked on everybody's mentals, first and foremost, I forgot to say this last week, so I'm gonna make sure that I say it this week. Rest in peace to Betty White. I can't believe I missed that last week in last episode, but definitely rest in peace to her. She
mad heartbreaking. Just thinking about Betty, it's just mad heartbreaking because that heifer was supposed to last. She was supposed to stay. Okay, the guy said, "Come on home."
Yeah.
Come on home, mother.
2.5 weeks from turning 100. And he just said, "Come on," and didn't even make it to the new year. So definitely rest in peace to her. I feel like I have to do this. So real quick for this next 30 seconds, I am going to play the Golden Girls theme song.
Come on, I'm with it.
Hopefully my phone will go ahead and there we go.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, "Thank you for being a friend."
Yeah. Thank you for being a friend, Betty.
Yes,
Thank you for being a goddamn friend.
And real quick for shits and giggles.
Thank you for being a friend.
Oh,
So we started from the bottom, now we're here, girl. It's true. It's my part right here.
please turn that shit out, okay? Please turn it up. Sing, sir. Sing for Betty. Sing. Yeah. Sing, Betty.
Always got to play that every time I hear the Golden Girls. Nah, but for the younger generation out there, if you haven't peeped the Golden Girls, you should be able to stream it on Hulu. Definitely check it out. It is an 80s sitcom, and obviously Betty White was a big part of that. And yeah, those 4 ladies are very funny, and unfortunately, all 4 ladies have now passed on, with Betty White being the last one. So, rest in peace to her. And other rest in peace news. I had just found out that the if I'm not mistaken, Mr. James M-Tune, the percussionist, has passed away. For those who don't know who M-Tune is, that is the group who recorded the very famous song "Juicy Fruit." Yes, so it is.
That was a bop, and I'm so sad.
It is, and Juicy Fruit has been sampled multiple times, most famously, of course, by Biggie. But yeah, rest in peace to that king there, man. It's really sad to see all the legends pass. In other. Yeah. And some what's up?
I said that one hit home.
Yeah. And I literally I found out today, and it happened yesterday. So yeah, that's really sad. 2 more deaths that happened in our culture. Of course, I didn't say this at the last week's episode, but also rest in peace to Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop, the Black Archbishop. Obviously he fought against apartheid in South Africa. He was a part of that fight. So definitely rest in peace to him. I for those who know about the things that he's done, him and Nelson Mandela, definitely look him up. And then finally, from an actor standpoint, rest in peace to Sir Sidney Poitier. That one hurt me, especially because I did a project on Sidney Poitier back in middle school for two films that he did. One of them being Lilies of the Field, which is the movie that made him the first Black actor to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. So really, really tall giant, really trailblazing actor. It's really just heartbreaking. And for those who've seen the movie or watched the series In the Heat of the Night will know what I'm talking about. So definitely prayers out to his family. He was 94, so he lived a good life, but it still don't hurt any less. So rest in peace to all of those giants that we just named just now. So with that, I really wanted to talk about this episode because this is 2022 is already getting off to a hot start on people who are continuously fumbling the bag right now. And I got to throw that out there because it seems that, for those who listen to this podcast, that we're all about uplifting each other, about trying to navigate crazy parts in our community and in our culture so that way we can all be successful. And of course, talking about the things that we love that will help us get to that success. I really don't know what to say about this, but I got to start with Ari Fletcher. And yeah,
Let's talk about the Dawn.
Yeah. Miss Fletcher. Ari the Don. For those who don't know who Ari the Don is, she is the ex-girlfriend and baby mama of Chicago rapper G Herbo. At least that's how I first got introduced to her. Naturally, the relationship didn't last. They went their separate ways. She now, I guess, dabbles with with Moneybagg Yo.
Can I say that she dabbles? She actually is together with that man. She was actually with that man and has been with him for 3 years.
Look, the way she be acting, I don't even know. That's why I said that. But
I mean, it's bag, so like you can't really, you feel me? Like it's bag.
It's bag. You're right.
You gotta understand their relationship for what it is. Is like, and he says it throughout music. If y'all like truly listen to what that man be saying, like,
is he really saying that shit's toxic? Like, and his music, I feel like he's just like, this shit's toxic.
Toxic as he is saying that, like, he got a lot of stuff going on in his own personal that he is trying to find, I guess, healing in when it comes to his relationship with Ari. And that's not to say that he don't love her or that there isn't love to be established within their relationship. But if you know Bag from his come up in his rap career, yeah. It's
right.
Bag. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Right.
And in all honesty, if you know Ari, she kind of is kind of in the same realm, because if you know how her relationship with Herbo ended, apparently, I mean, not apparently, but G Herbo, of course, was talking to somebody else at the same time, young Tiana Williams, and yeah, that relationship clearly didn't work out. But according to inside sources, it's never really confirmed. Apparently, they had a toxic relationship too, even before he started talking to Tiana. So it's really crazy to see where that comes from. But to get into what Ari did, and it's really disappointing to see that this happened. I have to play the video because she got on IG Live and straight up said she didn't care about domestic violence victims or their traumas. And this was after some took issue with her saying she wanted Bag to pull his gun out on her, I guess in some sort of kink kind of relationship part. I don't know if that's a kink or not, But
that ain't no damn kink. Okay. That ain't
yeah,
no-
I don't know what Ari got going on. I don't know what this violence kink is in relationships. I ain't with it. But either way, I gotta play the video just so you guys can understand some context.
Let's start there. That's one. Two, y'all are in the comments like, oh, when I was in a relationship, this boy put out. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about what happened to you, what trauma you had. Nobody cares. You're trying to victimize yourself and use this. Oh, like this. Yeah, don't worry about my wig. Yes, child. Anyway, like, please, stop. You in the comments, you telling your stories about nobody cares. We do not care. We don't care. We don't care. We do not care at all. Like, we don't care. We don't care. We don't. We just don't care. One time my boyfriend, so what? So what? And now what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Y'all trying to victim. You want to be a victim so bad. Why you want to be a victim so bad? I know I look crazy. Y'all don't know about it. But like, we do not, I swear, I promise to Jesus, we do not care. Like, not this much. We don't care.
Okay.
First and foremost, what you gonna do is play with my good Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Let's be very find that to be very extremely interesting.
She invalidated a lot of people experiences and feelings, and I don't appreciate that, because if another topic we're going to talk about is the opposite side of it being invalidating. So never ever should there be a point of invalidating someone's feelings, because everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Now, whether you agree with it or not is one thing, but you should never ever invalidate somebody's experiences or feelings. And that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, before we get into what happens to Ari after she made these comments, that is precisely what I'm thinking. Between me and Law, we stand on the same thing. Like, it's one thing that if you have your own feelings about it, but what you're not going to do is invalidate somebody else's experience. On top of the fact is that too many women out here, and men too, are survivors and victims of domestic violence daily. And just to see the fact that she went on there and decided to invalidate those feelings from those people and that really, what it shows me is that I don't want to say that. Let me just say it shows a level of ignorance on her part, and it's not the ignorance as if she doesn't know. This is just straight up Stockholm syndrome, in my opinion, because if the rumors are true and her and Herbo had a few issues with each other, she is a victim of that or a survivor of that herself. And to hear that coming out of her lips,
I'm gonna chime in on that, because that is actually a true statement. And I've seen the video where like both G Herbo and her going back and forth. She's in tears about their child and stuff like that. So while she's sitting there invalidating it and like, look, I don't know the gist, I don't know all of that, but from what was shown is that you as well went through a whole domestic violence case or whatever the fuck it was that had you in tears. So while you're sitting here talking about you victimizing, and maybe she didn't even victimize herself. She was like, maybe she went through the whole shit and then she kept pushing. But don't sit here and try to invalidate somebody else's experience because of what they gone through. Because let's be very clear. I'm pretty sure some of those domestic violence ended up with a lot of black eyes and a lot of nosebleeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure
and deaths.
And also a lot of deaths. So keep in mind, while you're sitting here talking about who cares of care and you victimizing, you trying to be a victim, they were victims, sweetheart, and you were too. You just don't want to say it.
And that's something that I really pointed out. That's Stockholm syndrome. You've experienced this, and yet here you are trying to invalidate those feelings as well as the experiences that you've had on your own. that shows me that there's still some trauma there that she hasn't recovered from. On top of that as well, but it's so insufferable and infuriating to see something like that come from her. So in reaction to that, obviously, Rihanna pulled the Savage Fenty brand ambassadorship deal from her. And for those who know Rihanna's story, knows that Rihanna,
she's not playing that, and we all saw it. She's not playing that.
Exactly.
I don't know what the fuck Ari was on, but bitch, you just fumbled a bag, honey.
Mm-hmm.
You fumbled a bag, and I'm pretty like, don't get me wrong, Ari, she has other ventures, she has other sources of income. That's good, but baby, that Savage was a bag.
I'm saying, like, you fumbled a whole bag dealing with that. And again, if you know Rihanna's story, you know what Rihanna went through with Chris Brown, and regardless of how you feel about that situation, it's still a case of domestic violence. Why would Rihanna have somebody like that on her brand ambassador team?
And I could definitely understand Rihanna pulling her from that, because this is like, okay, while you're sitting here saying, oh, don't play victim, you're basically saying that same shit to me.
And I'm putting.
Go ahead, Law.
And I was just saying, sorry, I'm eating. But I was saying that not to say that, she basically was saying that to her, and I said, yeah, and from Rihanna's aspect, she putting money in her pocket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't bite the hand that's feeding you.
Feeding you.
Yes.
Don't bite the hand that is feeding you, damn it.
Yes, and yes. So for the audience out here, I'm just gonna read a little bit of the article here. This is from news.yahoo.com. Ari Fletcher may be the latest Savage Fenty brand ambassador to have her deal pulled by Rihanna herself, following a slew of comments about domestic violence that apparently didn't sit well with the Bahan boss. On January 7th, fans began to notice that all traces of the 26-year-old social media influencer and businesswoman have been removed from the brand's website and social media pages, which sparked speculation that Fletcher's flippant attitude towards domestic abuse and the victims of that abuse made their way back to the multi-hyphenate mogul. Fletcher made the unsavory remarks during a visit to the Don't Call Me White Girl podcast in December, during which she opened up about her relationship with rapper Moneybagg Yo and how being with him has helped her grow out of some of the toxicity she was used to and contributed to early on in their relationship. She explained that she'd throw temper tantrums and go through the motions of leaving in hopes of her partner pulling a gun on her to make her stay. Like, pull your gun out and show me, like, bitch, leave. I wish you would walk out the door, Fletcher told host Mona Love with a smile. After the clip went viral and I guess that's Kaichi or KYCHE extensions owner was met with backlash from followers, some of whom were domestic abuse survivors themselves, Fletcher responded on Instagram Live and not only doubled down on her comments, but told followers that nobody cares that they were victims of abuse. You're ugly. You don't even have a man. First of all, who wants to pull out a gun on you, especially to not leave? She ran it in the video. Nobody wants to do that. Not to you. Nobody even cares about you that much to do that. Two, y'all are in comments like,
oh, I'm gonna pause you right there.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Nobody need to have. I don't need somebody to pull a gun on me. That's not love. I need anybody to threaten me just to get me to stay. Like, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Like, that's such a safety hazard. Like, come on now.
Yeah. But y'all heard the video, so I'm gonna skip those comments. Fans overwhelmingly feel that if the rumors of her being dropped by Savage Fenty are true, Ari is simply reaping the bitter fruits of the negativity that she sowed. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Learn how to shut the hell up. And of course, my favorite, fuck around and find out.
Fuck around. That part. Fuck around and find out. I'm trying to get y'all in the good light. I'm trying to get y'all in the good light right now.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
All right. So there's that, guys. I just had to make a comment on that because obviously, we've talked about domestic abuse survivors on this podcast a couple of times, and we just want to show that, of course, that we still support those who are in the middle of domestic abuse cases and those who have survived. We stand behind you and we support you. For those who want to talk down on those, just know, first and foremost, your comments can be heard and seen by a lot of people, especially if you decide to go to social media and decide to show your ass. So just be mindful. Just be mindful. You know, because in an instant you could lose a bag.
A whole bag. And that was a serious bag too. Okay, do you know how many times I've asked myself, like, bitch, I've told myself, like, hey, bitch, you gonna be a savage ambassador. Okay, one day you're gonna be part of Fenty. Okay, I could never.
Yeah, me either. Law, you got any more comments?
All I'm gonna say is, if or when I make it to this team, I'm gonna have my PR team, so that if I ever have a slip up, they go, hey, get your shit together, nigga.
Okay, they have a PR team that just be on my ass, like, don't you dare fumble this bag for me. Don't you dare fumble this bag, okay?
I ain't never trying to put myself. Look, I don't even like losing $1. So imagine losing 6 figures, 7 figures.
A good portion of my figures. What?
Let's not talk about percentages. I don't.
Percentages like that whole time. Like, have you lost your mind?
Oh, yeah. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like I said, like this, we already live in an opinionated world, and it's cool to have your opinion, but don't ever invalidate the feelings or the opinions of others, because I feel like has somebody of true esteem, like on me, Rihanna doing what she did was in a way a humbling moment. One, excuse me. And then 2, just realize that like there are repercussions to the words that you say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to have you on, but with great, what is it? Dang, I lost the quote just that quick. But like, again, like, you want to represent my brand, you got to be able to, you know, stand in solidarity behind me and what I have envisioned. You know what I'm saying?
And that's so important, because Rihanna, she is definitely all about inclusivity. Like, she makes sure everyone is included. Not if somebody's different, so well, you coming with. Like, she's all about inclusivity. So the fact that, you know, she would make that remarks, and this is Ari's not the first person to make remarks like that. I know that Drea
got her snatched too.
she got her shit snatched too, and right now she's at a point where she's begging Rihanna to give me my shit back. Like, girl, stop playing with me. Like, girl, stop playing with me. Go ahead and give my shit back. Go ahead and give my shit back, girl. Stop playing.
Well, and to comment on that, as you said, Ari's not the first person to make comments like that. It's also not the first time Ari has made comments like that. I mean, for those who know Ari, know that she's again a pretty insufferable person, and that's just my viewpoint of her. You know, I don't know her personally, but just the personality that is portrayed in the media, I don't want to be anywhere around that. I already have my problems with influencers as is, but to see things like that, I mean, there are some influencers that, you know what, I'm okay with. Like, I don't have any issues with, but with that, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't care how fat your ass is. I'm just saying.
Listen.
It said, don't matter how loud the cheeks clap. If you just feelings, I don't want you.
I don't want you. She said it, and it's as simple as that. Rihanna was not playing no games. Sweetheart, she's not playing no games. Oh, bad, 10-4.
Well, either way, let's go ahead and try to move on from this, because we still got some more ish to talk about. But before we get into the next part of this conversation, do y'all have anything for y'all's segments today?
I got a think piece. So I
All
was
right.
at work on last week, and it's not really anything new, but how long are we going to continue to let these people that are put in positions to make decisions for our local offices, states, and country continue to put politics before health? You know, like we mentioned earlier, we've been in this thing for 3 years. And despite whatever side that you may fall on in your political view and belief, it's affected everybody in the same sense, you know? So just a think piece, you know, what is it going to take to continue to promote health before politics, even though politics are ran by health? And so that's my little tidbit. I will hope to hear back some feedback from that. But just my 2 cents. I want to continue to see changes made to the different things that are put in place,
Right.
in terms of health. Still having to deal with people being homeless, you know, and the homeless side of it is growing due to the fact of inflation on, things like rent, things like the housing market. You know, these are all things that play hand in hand with, okay, the growing number of homeless, the number of people who aren't able to receive healthcare or whose healthcare is being restricted due to certain entities outside of what may be shown. So that's my tidbit. Health before politics 2022.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. And Nasa, you got anything for your segment here, ma'am?
I don't really have anything too much too hefty. But I do have an audiobook that I really want you guys to keen into. I'm trying to get into the swing of things as far as audiobooks. And the audiobook that I am listening to is called The Mountain Is You. And it's talking about how to transform self-sabotage into self-mastery and gaining that self-balance for yourself. I'm on chapter 2. I just started it, so I'm on chapter 2 right now. And so far, it's so good. Like, it really breaks down the steps and, you know, the different ideas that we do for ourselves, like with pride and, you know, of course, the self-sabotage and this unwantingness that we kind of create for ourselves. So it's teaching you how to get out of that mindset. It's definitely teaching you how to get out of the mindset. So I would encourage you guys to go ahead and look it up. Again, it's The Mountain Is You. It is by Brianna West. So definitely go check that out. Enjoy it, master it, and all that good shit. So y'all know.
Word. Thank you for that. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, of course, before we move on, I definitely want to do a quick highlight and quick shout out to one of my old church buddies, my friend Naima. She is hosting a 2022 takeover pop-up brunch on the 30th of January from 2:30 to 6 p.m. at the MLH Boutique off Big Bethel Road. So for those who are in the 757 area, of course, if you want to pop up to this brunch, definitely make your way over there. Food and drinks will be available. There is a vendor fee of $65. Of course, if you have a business or vendor that would like to participate as a part of this program. For all other inquiries about this, definitely follow her on Instagram at Naima_Iman. That's NAEEMA_IMAN. Definitely check her out. Miss Naima also owns cosmetics. So definitely, if you are into that and for beauty products and whatnot, definitely check her out. I promise you won't be disappointed. So definitely had to throw that out there because I will be attending. That is on a Sunday. I always got to support the homie because I've known her since she was 13. And it's crazy how life goes on and some of your friends end up in the same spot as you. So I'm definitely going to be checking her out. And if y'all got any questions, comments, or concerns about that, definitely hit me up as well. So also in the meantime, the national championship is going on, Georgia versus Alabama. And it looks like Georgia already scored off a scoop and score. Oh, goodness. That's going to be interesting, man. If Georgia actually comes back and finally gets a win over Alabama, that'll be interesting. I'm not a Georgia fan by any stretch. I kind of want Bama to win, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. It's another SEC national championship, so we'll see what happens once the game is over. So, all right. We had just finished talking about invalidating domestic violence survivors and how that could pretty much lose you your bag. And so I have to start by saying there is a particular podcast that I actually hope loses their bag and their support because some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth is head scratching, to say the least. I'm going to try to be kind here for now until we really get into the meat of the subject. And if y'all are wondering which podcast I'm talking about, it's the Fresh and Fit podcast. Now, red flag number one for me already is that this podcast is supported by DJ Academics, and y'all know how I feel about academics ass. So,
how you feel about it? How you feel about it, Craig?
Man, y'all know I cannot stand academics, yo. And full stop. When he was with Joe Budden on Everyday Struggle, Joe is problematic. I'm not gonna say that he isn't because Joe has his own problematic issues, but academics is an enabler, one, I want to say an ass kisser, two, and just a clout chaser, three. Mind you, the fights that he has with the rapper Freddie Gibbs, that's kind of hilarious every now and again, and I like to see when they clown on each other. That's funny. But as far as everything else that deals with academics, yo, like, that man is a clown. Bro graduated from Clown University with a degree in clown economics and a minor in ass kissing and clout chasing. So that's just how I feel about DJ Academics. You say what you will, say what you want. That's just how I feel about him. Now, that's how I ended up discovering the Fresh and Fit podcast. And boy, there's a saying, and I can't remember it, but birds of a feather flock together. I believe that's the saying. And clearly these two gentlemen have the same exact thought process. Now, y'all know that when folk come at academics' neck, he tends to like kind of back away and shy away unless it's black women. And I first saw him go up and say some goofy shit on this podcast to some black women. And that was alarming, to say the least. But apparently, I'm thinking that's just academics and how he act. But no, apparently them two do the same shit. So I'm going to play a little clip. I'm not going to play the Asian doll clip because that is, there's some nuance to that a little bit. But I am going to play a clip that I think is really just alarming for me personally about how these dudes act. And see if I can find it first. It always seems to like disappear when I need it the most. So let me just go ahead and try to pull it up. Oh, I guess the touchdown was...
They called it back.
They called it back? Okay.
Yeah.
So he was down, I'm guessing, already? That's what it was? Okay, well, yeah. All right, let me see if I can find that clip of them, because they got so many red flags that I just think are really, really just, it's alarming to me. Damn, why can't I find this shit? Oh, here it go. Let me go ahead and
What about the black dating app called Black?
Let me start that over.
What about the black dating app called Black? Oh, it's funny I never used that one, bro. But hey, man.
Hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
LaQuisha.
Yeah, like me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that. Man. We ain't night riders.
Pause. What? What the fuck?
Yo, first and foremost, they're showing mad colorism.
Mad colorism and a lot of self-hate. Let's be very clear. Let's talk about it. A lot of self-hate because Fresh is dark as black, is dark as fucking night. He's dark as hell, but have the nerve to agree with this little. Okay.
Women. That's what I heard. Like, because if you are a man, you like all shades, shapes, all that. Like, you're not just going, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, everybody got preference, but like, you're not down with the brown. That's just a negative connotation, especially when you're
in brown.
Those shades. You know what I'm saying?
Let me play the rest of this clip.
So I'm good. Sometimes if they're red bone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark. If you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay. So last one, guys.
No, I don't know what you're saying.
So we're not going to mention names for certain reasons, right?
Yes.
For a bunch.
I'm just shaking my head, but the colorism in the comments, as Law pointed out, the self-hate, as Nasa pointed out, this is just really, really ridiculous to hear that, y'all are a podcast that is made to give men relationship advice and finance advice and health advice, and y'all make disparaging comments against women like this. This helps nobody, but continues to create a toxic environment and toxic masculinity for those who are seeking self-preservation as far as that is concerned. That is what that is telling me. That is trash. That is absolute trash. I don't know how these niggas got famous or became influencers or how they got their podcast off the ground like that. But that is very.
I'm gonna let you know. They're too busy bashing. They're too busy talking down on women. Because like social media likes that. Social media likes that type of shit where you like, okay, as long as you make sure that a black woman is in her place, everything's Gucci, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything's Gucci, right? As long as you show your dick, everything's Gucci, or show how bad or how well you can try to navigate a whole situation by just showing how toxic your ass is. Yeah, people will eat that shit up.
Yeah. Indeed. And the crazy part is this podcast is one of the reasons why a lot of black podcasts are getting a lot of flack right now on social media, especially on Twitter, because it's clear that y'all have some unresolved trauma that y'all need to resolve. And instead, y'all decide to go and find a podcast and talk about it like this shit ain't problematic. I got to go antagonist here real quick. Shout out to Polo of My Check Waifu. This shit is the podcast of doofuses. A bunch of bozos. That's what I think this is. Why are you spending your time trying to give out this relationship advice when you obviously need to be in therapy? And for those who are seeking relationship advice, don't listen to this fucking podcast. Don't listen to podcasts about this shit unless they are from trained professionals. And that's just my viewpoint. Like, if you having relationship issues, sex issues, health issues, if you want to listen to a podcast, fine. Just make sure that whoever the podcast that you're listening to, just make sure that they have some kind of qualifications, because clearly I don't know where these two niggas get off. I really don't. I don't know what kind of I really just don't know what experience they have. I honestly don't give a damn, but it's really putting a lot of black podcasts into perspective, and a lot of people have their eyes on them now, and now it's putting a lot of podcasts into a bad light. And the thing about it is, a lot of black folk do not need to do podcasts about relationships, especially if you don't have any kind of training or are not a trained professional about it. Let me make this clear. This podcast has had a couple of episodes dealing with toxic traits in relationships and figuring out relationships. This podcast has done those episodes. I'm not saying that we aren't qualified to talk about it, but you're talking to 3 young professionals here who are just trying to make their way into the world. But what we aren't going to do is sit here and try to invalidate one sex over the other, and especially one particularly marginalized group of women just to try and get a point across. Fuck them niggas. Excuse my language. I got to play another clip.
I really do find it funny how like they say that they're very welcoming as far as like we want, this they basically really want the show as far as like the, getting a different perspective as far as like dating and trying to help with that. But how are you dating when you are basically how are you showing, or assisting in the dating aspect when you're basically downgrading, when you're basically disrespecting women on your podcast for views? Like, it's very misogynistic. It's very hyper masculine. Like, let me show you how big I am by making you feel this small. And don't get me wrong, I feel like conversations in our dating community need to be had. Different perspectives do need to be said, but there's a level of respect that needs to be had. Like, I can respect your opinion, but here's my reasoning why. Without having to degrade you as a person, as a woman, as a dark skinned woman. I don't need you telling me to shut the fuck up, and I don't need you telling me, oh yeah, you being disrespectful, and I need you to shut this shit down, and just because this is your shit, I don't give a. Y'all know my y'all know my mouth.
Hey, look, I've already told the audience excuse our language. So.
Stop playing with me, okay?
No, that's really real. I gotta play this one other clip. From, I guess this nigga's name is Myron. I don't know. These niggas look goofy as hell anyway, and they want to talk about fresh and fit, and these niggas don't look like they. I mean, I guess they work out on some shit. I don't know, but these niggas do not look fresh at all. So let me just go ahead and play this next clip.
Like, you're not fresh and you're not fit.
And she says, no, I don't want to have sex. Cool, no problem. I respect your boundaries. But what you're going to do is you're going to pull out your phone, get up, and walk into another room. You're going to either call another girl or pretend you're talking to another girl. Then you're going to come back out and tell her, hey, listen, it was nice hanging out with you, but you got to go now. And then you let her mind race thinking, oh, this guy really just called another girl just now? I better either A, give him what he wants because he's going to kick me out of here and I might lose this guy, or B, she never want to have sex with you in the first place and you're get rid of the time waster. You're welcome.
If your intentions was just, okay, let's be very clear. If your intentions was just to fuck, then you should have just said that shit from the jump.
That part, but also to the point where, like, we all grown as fuck. So if you can't really just boil down to it and be like, hey, I'm trying to fuck, or like, what's good with it? Or like, you have some type of conversation other than trying to guilt trip yourself into some pussy. Like, come on, yo.
Like that's some real little boy shit. That's some real little boy shit. Like, you gotta try to like tiptoe around it just to get what the fuck you want. Let me tell you something. Real men just say what the fuck it is. They just say what it is. Okay, I'm trying to get me some pussy. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to say.
But
all this little tiptoe around and like trying to make me feel bad for your insecurities. Sir, please cut it out.
It really just boils down to the fact that, like, damn, he sacked his ass. You gotta actually be about something in order for it to get whatever desired reaction is.
My thing is like, what if she just peeped that your energy was just off? What if she just said, you know what, I'm good. Your energy is off. Like, and without even explaining, she just said, I'm good. Maybe she felt like your energy was off. Maybe she felt like the night is not really going well, so you don't deserve to get no fucking pussy from me.
Hey, that's facts. All I'm gonna say, man, is look, if you gotta manipulate your way into sex, you shouldn't be out here having sex.
Thank you.
You don't need to be having fucking sex. If you feel like you gotta manipulate me just to get the pussy, like, boy, get some help, because that's not cute.
It's like, man, you ain't gotta twist nobody arm and shit. As Nasa, you said before, we are grown. Shoot, Lord, we are grown. Like, ain't no way to be playing. You should not be having to play these games or resort to those kind of games just so that you can get some pussy. Like,
now, there is a understandable interchange or building of tension that I can understand, like, but that's already with the incentive or the mindset that y'all are past that initial setup phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom, like if it like we gonna talk about it, or it's gonna be like certain things that like are like primal hints, or y'all get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like they're just primal hints. Like, if you're an adult, you'll pick up on the shit. Like you'll pick up on like the gist on what is really trying to like go forth. Like, all that little boy, like, let me go ahead and go to the other room and let me call up another shorty. Honestly, let's be very clear. Like, sir, if you just wasn't, if the energy, if she was playing around and she wasn't going to give you no pussy, you could have just said, you know what, I think it's time to call it a night. Like, that's literally all you have to say. Like,
but it also speaks to and you got to think about the environment at which they live in too.
And what is the environment? Like, I feel, and what's the environment?
Located in what, California?
Honestly, bro, I don't know. I want to say yes, but I don't quote me on that, bro. I don't know. Let me see if I can find where these bozos live at.
It just sounds real goofy, like,
yeah.
And I hope there are really not any young men that are listening and following behind what they're saying, because it's not the way you go about it. Like we said, a real man gonna step and he gonna say what it is that he want, and he gonna make it known. And
he don't make it known. He don't have to play the games. He don't have to go around it. And if it's not the right vibe, he'll just keep it pushing. Like on some real shit, like a real man will just keep it pushing. If it's not what he wants, it's just not what he wants, and that he'll just keep it going. But he don't need to play the goofy games. He don't need to do all this extra shit just to get some pussy. I didn't know, like, if he wanted to pussy, he'll get some pussy. Like, that's just it.
This shit funny, yo. Like, real rap. Like, cause it's just like the whole like I can see where good platforms can get turned around. But I don't really think that this platform was solid from the jump.
This shit was not solid from the jump because it's based on biased opinions. It's based on clearly trauma. It's based on toxic masculinity. It's based on, I feel like I need to go ahead and show my dick or show how big my shit is because that is the third.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this: when you make me like agree with Joe Budden, that's when I know that you're problematic as fuck.
Right? Because let's talk about it, because I don't even listen to Joe Budden. But
and I'm gonna say this like this: Joe Budden is my nigga. There are certain things that Joe Budden has said out of his mouth that I'm just like, bro, you are wilding. Nah, I'm not with that. But I gotta read what he said. Now, I don't normally do the repost another pod thing because one, I just don't, and two, some stuff just doesn't deserve to be highlighted. But today I'll make an exception. I don't know these two doofs, but they don't get to do this. Too ignorant, inexperienced, insecure, fragile, and weak for this stale gimmick to not be seen through. Black women are everything, especially beautiful. Every kind of beautiful too. So to hear this from them, LOL, it's laughable, but it's not. It's not, y'all don't date black women, fam. Black women won't date y'all, I can tell. So you harbor this hate and base opinions off as if you've been outside long enough to even know yourself. And y'all are angry about it, just not angry enough to not use them. These idiots know most podcasts can't get off the ground or gain any traction without love or hate from black women. Both act as fuel. This is nothing more than a cheap, tasteless heave at a payday. The words don't match the actions. If you hate them, do it without them. Skip the topic. Don't have them as guests. You clearly don't know how to host them. Don't cater convo towards them. Say no to every dollar, view, like, download, subscription generated directly or indirectly by them. Then I'll believe you. This is just pure laziness, among other things. If you can't find a funny, creative way to be inclusive or discuss dating, then go back to the drawing board. I'll skip the lecture on self-hatred and just be glad they make it so easy to spot.
Okay, listen, they made it very easy to spot. And, I don't, there's some shit that Joe Biden or
Button. I was gonna say, not Byron, not Joe Byron, Joe Budden.
Joe Biden. There's some shit that Joe Biden will say that I just be like, all right, bro, like, cut it out. But he made a very good point. Like, without us, you got nothing, sir. You really have nothing. And you make it so easy for people to pick apart this podcast because you are literally projecting so much of your insecurities, and it's a lot. And you know what, to be honest, they can say, you know what, I'm fine. I'm secure within myself. I'm secure within my baby boy. That's fine. But your trauma is showing through. That trauma, you can't, I don't give a damn how well you think you know yourself. But if your trauma, if you ain't got unsettled trauma, that shit will project through regardless whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not.
Y'all know what it was? They got bullied by all the black girls growing up, and they grew up to make a podcast where they talk shit and talk down, and all they date is white and mulatto girls.
If you couldn't get no play from no black girl, just say that. Just say that.
I'm saying.
If you cannot handle the mouth of a black woman, because I refuse, I will not allow you to disrespect me. Just say that.
That part.
And all they realized is they grew up to be the same niggas that got joked on.
The same niggas that got joked on.
Like, come on.
Y'all want to be okay? Like, listen.
Well, y'all know how we feel about them clowns over there at Fresh and Fit. And y'all already know how we feel about the actions taken by Miss Ari the Don or Ari Fletcher. So y'all just be mindful. Like, when y'all are out here, you do not have to degrade women to either get clout or get your point across or for a payday, man. There are other ways that you can do that. If you decide to go that route, I can't respect you. And I'm not going to respect any content that you put out from that point forward because you decided that you were going to degrade and denigrate other women, especially black women. Y'all already know how I feel about my black women. So to see something like that and to hear something like that from those two bozos over at Fresh and Fit, that is really upsetting.
You know what's always funny to me, because I've had an experience like this, and this was in high school. And so, I always talk about trauma, but the black men at my high school, they were always into the white girls. And back home, we called them snow bunnies. Okay, we called them snow bunnies. So I remember one day, this one white guy, this black guy came up to me, and he was just like, I was just chatting it up with him, and he was just like, yeah, I like snow bunnies, but Shanasa, you're an exception.
Wow. Wow.
And then I also went to another guy, and he was just like, I can't date nobody that's darker than me. I was like, what's wrong with somebody that's darker than you? She was just like, you're just ghetto. And it's like, oh. So this is like a lot of self-hate. That self-hatred is fucking real. Okay? Because of your insecurities or whatever trauma you dealt with, you gotta bring that over to on this side. I'm not the cause of that, sweetheart. Like, we're not the cause of that. And I do agree that if you want to hold Black women accountable, because I do feel that at certain points we do need to be held accountable, by all means do so. But don't degrade us in the process. hold us accountable. Acknowledge us, hold us to our actions by all means, because as women, we stay trying to hold a Black man to his actions and all this, that, and the third. Hold us accountable by all means, but don't degrade us in the process.
I 100% agree. Couldn't have said it better myself. So with that, I think this is a good closing. Because it's been about an hour. We don't have to go too long today, because we got things to do, and unfortunately life goes on. So I think this is a good stopping point for us. But for those who want to be a part of the conversation, of course, you can always hit us up on our social media, and definitely we can continue this conversation. But obviously, how we feel is that there are ways to make relationships work without having to degrade the women, or especially there are ways to have a platform for relationships without having to bring in Black women and then degrade them on said platform as well. There are many ways to do that without having to go that route. And as I've said before, if you have a platform where you decide to get on your soapbox about trauma that you faced, and in the process have decided to attack Black women, then anything that you've said from that point forward is going to fall on deaf ears, because I can no longer respect you and I'm no longer going to listen to you at that point. But that's just my 2 cents on it. So before we sign off, of course, just got to ask, are there any announcements or any Black businesses that you guys wish to highlight?
None on my end. Just, like I said, just continue to keep being great, being positive. None more, none less.
One more, none less. No, I don't have anything, but again, I will always do this since I've been in therapy. I'm vouching for it. Y'all go seek it. It's good. It's healthy. We need to start creating healthy boundaries. Just help. Just need to promote that. So
that's real. So with that, before we sign off and before I give out the list of the Black podcasts that you all should follow, next week's episode is going to be an interview with my boy Malcolm, or AKA Brother X, from the Truth and Transparency podcast. We have been classmates. He was Ogre 14. I was QT8. So we definitely got to have a conversation. We definitely going to be on this podcast. We just going to trip. We're going to have fun. We're going to ask questions. We're going to do all that good shit. So stay tuned for next week's episode. The week after that, we will be doing the Neo discography. Between the three of us, it's a short discography. So the three of us should just be fine when we rank that. And I hope that you guys will listen to that episode, because the albums are written really well. If you want to catch some of my grades, the tweet is actually pinned on my profile. So definitely go to my Twitter and you'll see my grades. And if you wanted to, see a more descriptive version of that and how I gave out the grades for each album, of course, you can use the Neo discography hashtag and see my comments. But anyway, as always, shout out to Blaname Podcast, Worst Generation Podcast, and Mic Check Waifu. I am a Patreon subscriber to these 3 anime podcasts. For your anime podcast listening pleasure, if you need a podcast to get into, those 3 are definitely ones that I highly and strongly recommend. Shout out to everybody that's part of that podcast. Of course, to Polo and Tell of Mic Check Waifu, to Sine and Mike Unbothered of Blaname Podcast, and to all 9 members of Worst Generation Pod. We definitely salute you all. With that, of course, Truth and Transparency Podcast, as I previously mentioned, with Brother X, and of course, the Culture Scientists. Check them out. The session 757 with Jay and Trey, they are back and in full swing. Definitely check them out as well. Definitely got an episode that we got to do together as well. Them 2 are hilarious, so we definitely got to get them on board on this podcast, because we got to talk some crazy ish. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Trying to think if there's any other podcasts. Shout out to Analytical with Things Get Critical. Definitely have been a part of Hot Take Tuesdays. I had to come in on that last episode because apparently in the analytical world, they, for whatever reason, have a vendetta against isekai genre anime. And I had to stand on my own 2 feet for that because the isekai genre will not be slandered without me saying something. So there it is. Definitely shout out to Sundari. Please be sure that you subscribe to her YouTube channel. Sundari is also a big supporter of this podcast and a big listener, so I will always hold her into high regard. If there are any other podcasts, as always, Culture Marauders, definitely check them out. To the Hilltop Glove podcast, I think they're on a little bit of a break, but always shout out to them just because they were able to help get some more stuff off the ground for us as far as posting the sound clips on our Instagram page. So with that, if there are no more announcements, be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Be sure that you follow us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Instagram at Chaotic Culture Pod and follow us on Twitter at chaotic_culture. Be sure that you subscribe to this podcast through our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod and become a member or a subscriber or a patron at any of the 4 levels. It does not matter which one. You can follow me, Ked the Pro, that's K3D the Pro, on all social media. You can follow Ms. Nasa on all social media at _callmenasa. And you can follow Law on Instagram at L.JR_96 and on Twitter at Law96_. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again for tuning in to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Until next time, folks, remember, be blessed, be safe. God is love. Deuces.
One.
Look, it's chaos in these streets, so let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to the table. We don't tell no lies over here. This ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here. We ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here. We got the power. We just showing love over here. Cause everybody needs some. Yeah. And we don't need a reason.